Floors, making and editing types. Okay, we're in a new chapter. So let's pick up where we left off, 10.05. So this is 11.01. Begin. So that's our starting point. Okay, and then let's complete. Floors, making types. Now, this is something you've done at the fundamentals level. You know how to make floors, and you probably know how to make the types. We're going to just basically expand on that a little bit. Our building needs floors, so let's do it. We're not hiding anything here. One thing to remember here is the phasing. Whenever we're building something, we're always having to deal with phases. So whatever view you're in, that's the phase that you're going to be building in. So we've got top of foundation wall phase 1. Now that's not really the best. Let's go into our elevations, building elevations. Let's go into our south elevation. And why am I saying that that's not the best? Well, that's the top of the foundation wall. It's not top of finished floor 1. So that's what we're looking for here is top of finished floor 1. So let's look for that under existing. Top of finished floor 1. There it is. I'm going to just right click and duplicate with detailing. Just want to make sure everything goes with it. And I'm going to end up with something called copy. I'm just going to click on that, say finish floor 1, and then I'm just going to put a little dash phase 1 behind it. Okay, now just because I call it phase 1 doesn't mean it is phase 1. So let's go into its properties, change its phase to phase 1, apply, and let's now see if it appeared there. There it is. So I'm going to double click on top of floor 1 phase 1. And there we are. It looks a lot like our top of foundation wall, but it's not exact because when we start drawing a wall, it's going to go down to that particular level. Okay, so we're going to put in a floor. So let's click on floor. Start it with a generic floor 12-inch. Why not? We actually want to draw it to sort of the finished face of the stud, right? So we can't see the stud. Let's back out of this. Let's turn our view to medium. Okay, here we are. Now I can actually see where I want that floor edge to go. So I'm going to click on floor again, launching the sketch mode. And we can draw a rectangle because it is a rectangle. But if there's times when there's cutouts and so on, draw it as it's built. That's the general rule. Okay, so we're going to draw it like that. I don't usually lock things. I find that that's more trouble than it's worth, so we're not going to lock it. We say OK, and we've drawn our floor. Now let's put in a little section. It's going to serve us well. I just sectioned, hit escape twice, and I'm back to the section tool. I could just double click on it and double click on the section head, and here I am in the section view. You're always doing this. This is part of learning. You got to switch views, change scale, see how things have worked out. Now this is a 12-inch deep, and that's not exactly what we wanted. So let's just click on that. We're going to edit the type, the structure. Actually, let's just duplicate it, and we're going to call this one F1. And maybe we'll call that F1 addition or something like that. Okay, under structure, we can click on edit, and we can go with structure. What's the structure? Well, if we go 2x10s, it would be 9.5 approximately, and then we can put in another one, 9.5 inches. The plywood or whatever that goes on top is part of the structure. So we could put that in the core boundary. We could go with something like 1/2 inch. And we can specify the materials if we want. If we want to do some estimation or something like that, then it might be a way to go. So let's just go down to wood. If you can, and it doesn't take too long, why not? So we'll just call that wood dimensional lumber. We'll say OK. And then this one we'll call wood sheathing plywood. There we go. You say OK and OK. Now, notice what we've got here. We've got the situation where the floor intersects with the wall, plus it's not sitting right on the foundation wall. That's because there's a little sill plate, which is basically a 2x4 that sits on top of the foundation, goes around the foundation, and then the floor sits on that. We accounted for that when we made our levels. So that's something that you want to try to think about those things a little bit. You can adjust it after the fact, but it's good to know a little bit about your building when you're setting your levels. We already did the join geometry tool, but let's do it again. Modify, join geometry, join, and things are starting to look up. Okay, so our wall is continuing all the way down. There's a little piece there. I'm not going to worry myself with that at this point. Okay, so we've got our main floor in. We're going to need to make some floors in the existing as well. So we're going to go to existing. Then we're going to go to top of finish floor 1. All right, and we can draw them exactly how they're built. So again, we want to go with a medium view, and we'll go with floor. And again, we can start with the generic one. We can do a rectangle again because our building, coincidentally, it's a perfect rectangle. Sometimes I'll notice this, the sketch doesn't quite pick up things right. So sometimes you have to actually sketch it and then align. Sometimes the endpoints are a little bit off down at the corners with walls when you're drawing your floor sketch. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's finish that. Okay, there's our floor. Now we could put that back to the one we made. So this one was F1 addition, and we could call this one, just duplicate it. We'll call it F1 existing. We still have it selected. I'm going to go to modify, and I'm going to copy to clipboard. Then I'm going to go to paste, align to selected levels, and we're going to put it on top of finished floor 2. Of course, that's finished structured. Okay, let's go into a 3D view, and that's an existing 3D view. And there we go. So we've got our floor there. The floor is also on the bottom. If we just click on that wall, we can see it. It's right inside there. Good. So we have our basic floors in. We can save what we've done, close it in Windows, save,